Hello and welcome to another episode of Pop Life, brought to you by the wonderful people at This is Revolution Podcast. If you are new to the channel, welcome. So glad to have you with us. If you are a returning listener or subscriber or one of our very valued patrons, well, all right. As you know, TIR is totally listener funded, and since we have a no holds barred ethos, many of our shows are sadly demonetized. That being said, if you appreciate what we do here on TIR, have the means, and want to make sure we can continue to do all of this, become a patron for as little as $3 a month or $30 for the year. You can get access to champagne rooms past and present. Join us for our call-in shows, and you can make sure we can continue to bring you quality programming, or as close to quality programming as possible. Now, topic at hand: is hip-hop journalism a pathway to the manosphere? Before we can even interrogate this question about hip-hop journalism, maybe we should lay out what we're talking about and not conflate the hardworking journalists like Davey D and returning guest on this show, someone I call a friend, Justin Hunt, with characters like Charlemagne the God. What we're discussing today is more of a podcast ecosystem that disguises itself as journalism, that is more akin to gossip shows and pseudo self-help programming. This male-dominated podcast sphere seems to be subconsciously a gateway to manosphere ideology, where misogyny is disguised as self-improvement and entrepreneurship is seen as the only pathway to success. So join me and a few others in this deep dive conversation where we examine how a revolutionary art form is used as a bridge to conservative libertarianism with nationalist characteristics. On this journey of introspection is my homie, my man, my co-host, my dog, the Prince of Miami. He is the Pascal Robert.
Peace and greens to the chat, peace and greens to the audience, peace and greens, Jason Mizzy Miles.
This is something that I think you'll have a lot to say on. I feel like that's why you're sitting like that, because you're like, I have a lot to say.
Hip hop is a gateway to the manosphere.
Just the music in general. And let's bring in the person that brought this whole show together, M2 Salt.
Hello. Can I just say really quickly, you know how you get upset whenever you find out that someone is an island Negro and not ADOS?
Sure.
Just want to say, new Pope dropped and he's Haitian.
I refuse. The new Pope is...
The new Pope is about as Haitian as, I mean...
He's about as Haitian.
No, big up the Zoes. Flags out. New Pope is Haitian.
I think you and Pascal lie on all the Haitians. I don't believe half the people you say. Like every time I like a hip hop song, you know, Pete Rock is Haitian.
Yep. Pete Rock is American.
Like,
oh, is he Jamaican?
You're like, man, I love Daz Effects. Pascal, like, you know, Daz Effects is Haitian.
No.
That's not me. I'm not one of those Negroes. I'm not one of those cool.
Anybody
claim
it.
Everybody
in the club is the greatest song ever. That's a Haitian anthem.
Loretta Devine is Haitian.
There you go.
As
Loretta
is Steph
Devine.
Curry.
Steph Curry.
We got Steph Curry, y'all.
Is Steph Curry? Pascal, is she lying?
Steph Curry is not Haitian. Steph Curry has an ancestor in his family.
Big up the Zoes. Get your
Tucson is the blackest woman in America. You know, so and so is Haitian. That's some shit my grandma would say. You know, so and so is black. I'm sorry, John Elway's not black. You sure?
Yo, can we stop with the one drop ruling of American figures, please?
Pascal, don't ruin this for me. We got the Pope. We got
you and the bad Tory Neblet. He's got a whole video talking about the Pope is black. You can't convince me otherwise.
I'm mad that your impersonation of him is so spot on that it's making me angry.
Does anybody like that guy? He's so annoying.
No, he fucking sucks.
Is that
He's
the bad guy?
he's the guy you bring on when you have so many stupid people on your show that you bring him in because he's some sort of like academic breath of fresh air. Like you're tired of listening to Charlemagne say the most god awful retarded shit ever, so you bring that douche nozzle on.
The Pope is black, and you can't convince me otherwise.
This is Torre the writer.
Torre Neblet.
Yeah, not Toure Reed.
No,
You know they went to school at the same time.
That's so cute, though. I really like that.
They don't.
Torre hates. Our Torre hates to be confused.
I think our Toure and that Toure should have a battle for who gets to say the name.
I agree.
Oh god!
Just handle it hip hop style.
With breakdancing moves.
Yeah.
Breakdancing moves.
Speaking of breakdancing moves, let's bring in who else knows more about hip hop and negrology than this man right here. Please welcome Big Bill Cody.
Right.
I know about this world because I get obsessed with it, but
You don't know about black popes?
not as much about black popes. But my friend Montu in Athens, he's Mr. Hip hop in Athens, and he knows way more about hip hop than I do. But
well, let me ask you guys the first question, and I'll dip out of this space. Who do you see as the main players in this space that are promoting this manosphere ethos? And I'll start that off with you, Toussaint, because you're the one that brought this show together.
Me? Well, I'll tell you right now, this is about to be the DJ Academics hour.
Oh,
He is. He's the guy. He is a major conduit, not just for like manosphere stuff, but also right-wing ideology. I believe he was the first one from this world to get a deal with Rumble, the right-wing platform, the right-wing social media platform. He's absolutely that guy. He's got next to no values. And obviously a ton of sexism and anger, and it's very appealing to a lot of people. I was reading this article where they were saying DJ Academics is average. He is the average man. You can tell by the way he looks, his round doughiness. He's a gamer dude. He sits in a chair all day and he screams about stuff that he likes or doesn't like, and that is a lot of people. So he kind of represents that, and he's extraordinarily toxic just on his own.
well, academics, some people think he works for the man, but yeah, I would put I would put academics in there, but also in a weird way, no jumper.
Yes.
Also Vlad TV.
Yes.
I mean, he's had all those kind of right-wing hip-hop guys on. Some of them have actually left him for being not as far enough to the right, like Jamar, Lord Jamar.
Lord Jamar, that's what I was going to say, man. Lord Jamar.
Yeah. He's almost gone all the way around to being, he's pretty hardcore. And then you have, I don't know how many of the hip-hop people still watch him, but, Charleston White, he's, the pull up your pants boy, man, in that world. Mm-hmm. Willie D is pretty far to the right, although his show's pretty not very good. But I think that, all of those shows, I was thinking about this when this came up. Mm-hmm. In some ways, they have a lot of the same grievances in a weird way that like white nationalists have. Like They really were against one of the reasons they were down on Biden's administration is because of the number of immigrants coming to New York and Chicago, and they would go on and on about how they're getting all the money and all the stuff, and we've been here forever. So there's a little bit of replacement theory in the hip hop world. There's also, particularly in the, in that side, they feel like their manhood is being taken away from them. There's a lot of grudges towards women, which has been a long part of hip hop, So all those shows, and the other part of these shows is they've always been, there's always been a bit of a conspiracy theory world in hip hop. One of my favorite, and he's back on. He used to have a YouTube show. Now he has an iHeart Radio show, but and he's not, I don't think, right wing, but Busy Bone. He gets all up to. He's the new he's become like the Art Bell of hip hop.
What do you guys think about Math Hoffa?
I think he's got a pretty true. I don't know if you guys agree with this. I feel like his show is about as true as it gets. It's almost like Rogan in a certain regard, where I think they'd rather talk about rap and rap adjacent stuff than they'd rather talk about the world and how to be a better whatever. Do you guys disagree?
But that's the same with Drink Champs, which is also a little bit of a pipeline, a conduit to the Manosphere.
How is Drink Champs a pipeline to the Manosphere? I've always wondered, how would you say that? Like, is that because of Nori, or is it DJ EMF? What's his name?
I don't remember his name. He's the other guy on
nondescript brown person.
Well, there was a time when Nori posted a tweet talking about how he was going to have Andrew Tate on Drink Champs, which, why would you have Andrew Tate on Drink Champs? He sees a connection. He later on said the tweet was like a joke. And they did not have Andrew Tate on their show. But this is also the same guy who had Kanye West on his show and allowed him to go on an extended anti-Semitic rant. That was Drink Champs.
I also look. I think there's two things going on with Drink Champs.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, they're intoxicated.
Okay,
right?
fair.
You wanted to put drunk N-words in front of a camera and get drunk N-word talk. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And we've said this before on the show, talking about other genres of music. A lot of these guys, not the brightest tools in the shed.
Absolutely not.
So I feel deep in my soul that they maybe don't know how to stop a bad interview. A, and B, probably don't really understand the comments as being racist.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't to be forgiving of the. It's just like, well, what are we watching here? I do want to ask this question to Bill. No Jumper for a while was like maybe the biggest one of these shows. It really blew up during the shelter in place. Now they've recently come out and said, and I think I talked to Bill about this offline, that they're having major financial problems. Bill, can you explain No Jumper to those? Because I feel like a lot of people that watch this show probably don't watch that show. That's a little too black for them. Like, sorry.
Well, it's black, but it's hosted by America's biggest wigger. No Jumper has a lot of issues right now because
gross.
They two of their main hosts are now in jail on RICO charges. So there's that. I can never tell if Adam has money. I think Adam has more money than he lets on. because
I can
he's
believe
done
that.
this. He's done this thing 2 or 3 times. I'm broke. I need help, and
You think it's all bullshit? They bought a building. I guess that they're trying to sell the building the show is in. Like that show, for if you don't know what No Jumper is, it's the show where this white guy, Bill's not lying, is a white guy, and he parades the worst black people you can imagine in Southern California. And he puts a camera in front of them and then talks to them like they're famous. Maybe these people are well known in Southern California. Maybe they're gang members turned rappers. Maybe they're gang adjacent turned rappers. I don't know. I've never heard of any of their music. I don't know anyone that bumps any of this music. If they're even rappers, sometimes they're just like pimps and shit. And then I guess the host is married to a porn actress. And then that's part of it too, because they have porn people coming on there, and just it's a show. How would you describe it, Toussaint?
A cesspool?
Yeah, it feels like if you walk in there, it smells like cigarettes.
Yes.
Is that
Blunt.
the guy with all the tattoos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cigarettes,
Oh,
blunts, and
Adam
like
22.
Victoria's Secret body lotion. Feel like
Oh,
all those scents are going off at the same time, and spilled Hennessy.
but
Hennessy.
he was also the first one though who started having the early Spotify rappers on.
Yeah.
And when they started breaking big, that kind of put him on the map, and you started having these other older hip hop artists who started wanting to, be on the hip kids thing. He started getting more of them because he had I mean, what's the guy extension?
Tentacion.
Yeah, he was on there early. He had he's had Young Boy on there, and a lot of people don't even know that, like, all of the Billboard records right now are held by NBA Young Boy. Like he's like dominated the charts for like the last 6 years, and outside of kind of the secondary rap level, people don't know who he is. But all these kids are downloading his Spotify's, and he's
But does that speak to, though, kind of how passive music is for people, where you can be the most popular person and you probably can't fill an 8,000 room
He's
theater?
so real. NBA Youngboy is the realist. He was on house arrest for a long time, and
that doesn't
became
mean
a
you're real.
Mormon.
That means you had a lawyer and you probably did something that's a little bit above a misdemeanor.
He became a Mormon also.
Oh, sorry, Bill. What are you saying, Bill?
Well, he just got out of jail. He was on gun charges, but yes, he moved to Utah, and there was like a big feature it was either Billboard or Variety about him, where he was being interviewed from Utah about how he's going to be a better person and all this stuff. And he owns like 10 of the most expensive cars in the world, and he was going to get a driver's license so he could drive one of them. And but I wrote down there's several different hip hop worlds that the average American doesn't even know exist right now. I mean, it's like if you talk to young college, like when I listen to WUOG, they'll play Little Uzi Vert, Little Yachty, who's friends with Faye Webster, and if I ask any of my friends over 30, they've never heard of these guys, but they're big. And then you have NBA Youngboy, and you have, that's what this whole Little Dirk is probably going to go to jail for the rest of his life, because he tried to kill, Youngboy's best friend, Quando Rondo, and ended up killing somebody else. And they stupidly used all his record company credit cards to pay the guys that they busted for doing it.
These aren't real criminals. These are children pretending to be criminals, because these are people that grew up with like a third generation of hip hop. So they only understand music as an imagination of what a gangster is, right?
Well, no, Little Dirk is a real gangster from Chicago. He's 31. He just got 3 Grammys,
That doesn't mean anything in 2025.
No,
to me.
he's a product of his background. He's a literal like Chicago gangster from the
Then why are
South
you
Side.
using credit cards? What background
Because
are you from? Ignorant nigga fucking background? Like, come on. At a certain point, you're not a gangster and you're just an idiot
He's one of the
pretending to be a
smarter
gangster.
ones.
well, they have a tape because one of the members of his crew had been on tape for like 2 years, I guess, and they have him calling back and go, and don't use my credit cards, and they'd already used them.
Why would you have to say that to somebody? These are not gangsters. These are just fucking idiots pretending to be bad guys.
Well, they're
Any
idiots,
idiot can get a gun. And
right?
idiots get guns. And I'm not saying that there's better gangsters than others. There's just people that have been real deal criminals for a long time. They move very different. They tend to be a little quieter.
I hear you, but you know the average.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
okay.
Sorry.
The old school like I mean Little Dirk's on Atlantic Records and he's alone made like $200 million. Who knows how much Atlantic Records has made? These are people that like look at Diddy, you know?
Mhm.
And there were people in LA who knew what was going on with him for 15 years, you know? And you look at the stuff that he did, it's stupid on one level, but he felt he could get away with it, and he did for quite a while.
I mean, he
So-
wasn't the only one oiling up buttholes. I mean, you've been in LA long enough to know there's a lot of cats oiling up buttholes.
Well, I'll say this, according to Trap Lore Ross.
I love Trapler.
I kind of do too. King Von is hip hop's first serial killer, and he is was Lil Durk's best friend.
Mm-hmm. And he's another one. King Von was blowing up huge before he stupidly got killed, and most people haven't heard of King Von. You know,
Right?
No, there's no monoculture. There's no kind of central source where people get their information. Streaming is extremely passive. It's not the same as buying stuff. So if you think about it like this, I can walk out to Los Angeles right now and see young people, even if it's ironic, wearing Ice Cube t-shirts. How many are wearing NBA Youngboy t-shirts? How many want to buy an NBA Youngboy t-shirt? And I think that's where the disconnect is to me for their popularity. I can listen to a bunch of stuff for free. I have the history of recorded music in my telephone right now. So I can listen to it 1,000,000 times if I want to, right? Buying streams is the equivalent of payola. So I don't know who's really popular. I can only really judge you off who's coming to see you live and how big are the rooms you're playing. And can you play them by yourself, or do you need to play a festival to play a big space?
I don't think you understand. NBA Youngboy is the realest.
I
He
just
has
don't give a shit.
the tightest skinny jeans.
I beg to differ, ma'am.
You can show us your pants. He has the most kids.
I beg to differ, ma'am.
That's true. Jason has the most kids. Pascal, have you heard of these people?
I don't know who any of these motherfuckers that y'all talking about are. I'm like sitting there talking. I'm sitting there like, who are these? I'm still trying to look at my old Run DMC records.
Did you see this comment? It said Bill Cody had healing parties for people after the Diddy party.
What does it say?
It said Bill Cody had healing parties for people after the Diddy party.
Well, you gotta do something afterwards, you know.
I'm kind of an old school guy. It's like, well, how many tickets are you good for?
No, these guys are NBA Youngboy. He's not allowed to tour right now, but he was doing 10,000, 12,000 seaters, you know, and you know, and you say about festivals, but the what's the big hip hop festival that's all over
Rolling
the
Loud.
country? Rolling Louds does quite well, you know.
I worked a Rolling Loud. It didn't do that well. It doesn't do as well as people think.
I don't know exactly. I know it's not Coachella, but you know, these people, there's money being made by these record companies, and these kids are making hundreds of millions of dollars. So somehow, some way, they're selling some product one
They're
way or
selling
another.
some product somewhere. I don't know what product it is. Is it Beats? Is it headphones? What is it?
Well, I don't know, but I mean, have you guys heard of you know, Little Yachty and
I've
these guys?
worked all the festivals when those guys were the Littles were coming up, but the downside to the Littles were that nobody was really they weren't selling out as much as people think they were in less than 2,000 seat rooms, and then they were bringing a lot of underage people, so no one sold food or beverage. So, and Little Yachty is more of a podcast guy than he is a rapper these days.
He is now, yeah.
There's more money in podcasting for a lot of John Mayer. I see him on a podcast more than I see him noodling around with his guitar. You batty.
Well, yeah, but that Grateful Dead thing was, they said the only person who made more money than the Grateful Dead last year was Taylor Swift. And
I can see people come out to the Grateful Dead with John Mayer. Oh man,
that was it. The new Dead would.
It's a middle class white person's wet dream right there.
They were selling out stadiums, and
get Dave Matthews to open that shit. It's just like, oh.
Oh yeah, I mean that's. But going back to what this was originally about, there's no hip hop shows move the dial, with at least not voting for Kamala. There's no doubt that and a lot of people in the liberal, like, political world did not see that coming. And, you know, you look at Snoop Dogg, they were playing that video he had like 1 month after Trump won in 2016. Anybody who does anything with Trump is not my friend. And now he's like quoted over and over again going, I like Donald Trump. He's been great. And then he actually supported him, you know? Ice Cube wouldn't say that he wasn't supporting him, which was the same as saying he was, and he did that on Joe Rogan. So, you know, I mean, we're living in a very strange world with all these shows. I mean, even in the other world, and you had a show about that, but you know, who was Theo Vaughn 2 years ago? Somebody who,
oh, I agree with you.
You know, couldn't sell 50 tickets at the Giggles, South Dakota. You know,
calling him out. It was on Theo Vaughn's show that Sexy Red announced her support for Trump. She about faced just before the election, is my understanding, but it was on his show that she, you know, was talking about how Trump is dope because he gave us checks and we need them checks again, baby.
Pascal Robert, what say you about the Manosphere? Like, who are the players for you? I know you may not know all these people, but you know some of them. Who are the players for you? Is Pascal frozen, or is he just in deep thought?
He's in deep thought about how Haitian the Pope is.
Pascal, can you hear us? Are you with us now?
My screen has been breaking up for like the last 5 minutes.
Oh,
at least you had the greatest face as you were frozen. What say you about the Manosphere and hip hop, Pascal? Who are the shows that you think are a pipeline?
I listen to Lord Jamar every now and then on his various platforms with Godfrey the comedian. Sometimes he has his own, you know what I mean. He has a podcast, you know, that he's on with Rod Digger, and I find that he is really kind of. He has this particular mixture of 5%er with old school reactionary kind of black nationalist politics that always is an interesting blend, talking about white liberals and why we shouldn't trust them, that I could see being a problem for the Democratic Party, but also having kind of like traditional kind of problematic politics when it comes to issues of women, like not being, like seeing, how there's too much catering to he's very much anti-gay. The whole the homophobia is big as well. So it's he's got an interesting politics. I mean, it's not. Let's not like pretend that hip hop as a music form didn't have problematic politics when it came to kind of issues overall. I mean, it
Yeah.
has had issues with misogyny. It has had black capitalism as a big part of its promotional sphere. So it's not to be surprising that these podcasts and media personalities that come out of hip hop who take microphones are going to take it in that kind of
Don't read that.
Don't read that.
Don't read that. Don't read. That just knocked it. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that to you, Beth. Are you okay?
Yeah.
A little traumatized.
I don't think we've ever on this show in the 5 years that we've been doing it together, Pascal, had a comment that you were just and not out of anger, out of just Oh, Tucson, did you see his face?
That was hilarious. Well, I'll say this about Lord Jamar. In 2014, the New Yorker wrote an article about him called Hip Hop's Alpha Conservative. And it was about his homophobia and transphobia and conservative values. And he's like, people are painting this as a generational thing. But I get young people coming up to me all the time saying, yeah, this stuff is going too far. These dudes can't wear drop earrings.
What's a drop earring?
Oh, the ones that dangle?
Like the 80s?
The big ones, yes. Or the 90s.
But
George Michael Faith?
I mean, look, Bill Cody had one of them earrings. Bill.
He had a cross.
1981. He had two dangles. He had a cross and a middle finger.
I used to wear 3 watches, but I never had that.
That was the bridge too far.
That's a bridge too far.
Bill know what time it is. Got 3 watches.
I thought this was going to be a serious show here.
I don't know why.
It has been serious. What are your other questions here that you
Oh
had?
my God. I do have more questions to ask, but I'm scared now ever since that person is sniping the show with comments. I do want to know, do you think the Manosphere has had an influence on the music?
Oh, that's a very good question. There's like, I watch these shows, and at the same time, I don't love some of the music. I don't totally get drill rap, and I am sick to death, whether it's hip hop or modern pop. It's like everybody with the whatchamacallit, where you correct the pitch correction. It's like they all sound like Cher from that song in the 90s. I mean, it's just,
do you believe in love?
Yeah, I can't take that. It's just awful. But I'm fascinated by, it's like, but some of these other guys, the ones I mentioned, it's like some of these ones that are doing the trippier hip hop, reminds me of what was coming up in the early '90s with De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest. But you know, I don't totally get Kodak Black, and yet I'm fascinated with him. And he's another one. He's got a record label. He's got TV shows that he does. He has a really weird TV show that he had on one of the. There's all these weird streaming services that you don't even know exist, and then they're like, but they're like making TV shows at the lower end, and then here, like, okay, what's funny is here in Paraguay, you hear more hip hop in the streets, but the hip hop here is much more like old school hip hop. They're singing much more about social ills and things like that. So whatever happened in America didn't happen here. They don't do drill rap in Latin America, and some of it's really, really good. You hear it on the streets, but it mixes in very much with the pop. They can bump it up right next to a Miley Cyrus song. I don't think that you can put, or maybe you can, but I'm not sure you can put, Quando Rondo or NBA YoungBoy and put it up next to
Taylor Swift.
Or the new album by Lady Gaga, which I've heard one too many times just here in Paraguay, and
well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. I think that this new generation of young people is very brand conscious. There's no one means to an end for them. So, for example, we've talked about how some of these rappers have stopped rapping. I believe Toussaint, you said the other day that Cardi B was like, I could do a podcast and it's way easier and better for me than to write a record. Which is true, because there's a lot that goes in. Even at this level, there's still a lot that goes into releasing an album for people that are on a label. Touring is involved. Music doesn't make as much money as it once did. So are we dealing with these kids using hip hop as kind of this stepping stone to multimedia careers, a la a Lil Yachty?
I just want to say real quick, Kodak Black also hates me. Just had.
Oh my God! Yes.
But look, you've heard artists talk about it for years, how much strife and struggle they have with their record companies. Nobody likes their record companies. Putting out music is difficult. For someone like Cardi B, I believe it would be her sophomore album that she's coming up against. And for a lot of artists, that's a tough one. They say you have your whole life to make your first album, but you prove that you actually have talent on your second album. True.
That's every genre of music. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And she's been avoiding it. She's been enjoying being a celebrity, a mega celebrity. She's sitting down talking with Bernie Sanders in a high neck dress, covering up everything. I believe she recently got a diamond installed on her ass crack.
Sorry. Wait, just time out. I need you to rewind that. And I need you to explain more in depth. Not that I need to see the diamond. Well, I wouldn't mind seeing it, but why? How? What is the function? Who sees it?
She did it for you, Jason.
I wish that she hit me up and was like, "Hey."
Well, a lot of people are like, also with the nails, how do you get things done back there? If you
gotta not have a bidet, but like a little person that just hoses you off at that point.
She also got a new BBL, like she re-upped. And
what does it look like now?
Bigger.
Did the diamond come as part of it? Like it was a set? It was a deal?
They were separate. They were separate, as are her thighs and the rest of her legs.
Wait a minute. So how do you know she's got a diamond? Is this a rumor? Like I heard on the street that Busta Rhymes.
No.
Is that the kind of rumor you're telling, or you know for a fact that she's got a diamond butt crack?
She tweeted it.
Installation. She tweeted it and she showed the picture of the installation.
Of the actual diamond on there, yeah. And I follow a Facebook account called
You follow trouble like on goddamn sirens by your house.
Sorry. My problematic faves, and everybody I follow other accounts too, and they're all like, look, girl, take us out the group chat. We don't want to know.
But seriously, Pascal.
Yes, sir.
What do you
let me just finish the thought, okay?
Okay, I'll shut up.
So
Okay,
it became the same with somebody like Lil Baby, who had a lot of promise when he first came out. This whole story about Young Thug paying him to stop selling drugs and to get in studio, all of this kind of thing, and his career was doing really well, but he started to enjoy just being famous more than making music. And people were saying that his music was getting really lazy. And then came out some picture of him. I think he was at a white party on a boat with a bunch of billionaires. Mm-hmm. I think they were like looking at the tag on his pants or something. And everybody's like, look at this. This dude ain't going to make no music. He just want to hang out with billionaires now. And
didn't Lil Baby just get hit with RICO charges too? Did he? Yeah.
I thought he was trying to stay clean and like out of.
No. I and Young Thug, everyone talks about he got off, but he's on probation. He's he got time served, and he's got an ankle bracelet for like the next 3 years. So he didn't totally get off, but Lil Baby, if I'm not mistaken, he just got hit with RICO charges too. And
I don't like, is hip hop still so in 1994 that getting a charge means that I have to listen to your music more? Doing an album from prison means that you're the real deal? Like, when are we going to get past that? I've been hearing niggas do records from prison. I'm not trying to be funny. When did Ascari X? That was the first one I heard. All the Peck of Woods better hide tonight. Remember that song, Pascal? Oh, no, that Pascal wasn't on your radar. I don't think he was Haitian.
It's worse than that, Jason. There's a whole bunch of them in prison for killing other rappers, and there's a bunch of dead rappers.
Yes.
Like the whole Chicago drill scene is either in jail or dead. And a lot of the New York drill scene, like what's that kid? And he did one of the most recent Cardi B hits was with what's the one that's they caught him on camera when he shot the kid, and he was wearing like $20,000 worth of clothes that he'd gotten from Atlantic Records.
Jesus.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
But you remember back in the day, though, guys.
K-Flock.
I think you and Tucson just making up names.
Yeah. You gotta watch Trap
I'm gonna lie. I'm sitting here impressed by how much Bill Cody and M. Tucson. Well, Tucson.
I told you, Bill got a degree in
Bill Cody is up on all of the young and up and coming rap hip hop culture. Their records. And I'm not talking about their records in terms of music. I'm talking about their criminal records.
What's crazy to me is this. There was a time when it was like, oh, dude did a verse from prison. It was like a big deal. 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
People died 30 years ago, and we were like, this is too much. And now it feels like, well, you got to do a crime, and then we'll take you seriously. There were these kids out of Detroit, and some of the worst music I've ever heard. It's called scam rap. And they rapped real fast off the beat. It was really horrible. There was nothing cool about it. It wasn't innovative. It was just shitty. But what people enjoyed about it was they were being criminal, right? Because there is this air of, can you niggas tap dance some more? We can't take you seriously unless you buck your eyes real big. All right. So these kids were rapping about doing petty scams. I'm talking internet scams, like lying and saying you're an internet influencer model, and if you email a certain thing, then you can win a prize, and they would get your information that way. Bank card scams, and then they would do these live shows, and they say if you come to the live show early, you can receive the scam Bible. Where we give you the how-tos on all the scam. It never existed, and these assholes would come to the show early.
It was a scam?
Yeah, is it a scam? Yeah, the assholes, right? And these kids just make shit up, right? They're like, I've scammed $1 million today. It's like, no, you didn't, because you'd comb your hair if you did. Fuck off. You're lying. You're lying. You're lying. You're lying. You're so lying. You wish you could do that, right? And so I'm sitting here watching these niggas lie to white people on this camera, right? And so they do a concert, and it's a documentary on these motherfuckers. They do a concert, and you see 2 cops come up and arrest them. They do a show in LA, and all the fans are like, oh, let my people. And they're arresting them, and they put them in a car, and they drive off. The guy that owns their label, who didn't want to sign him because he said this music sucks, but people said, but people like it. He goes, people like it. Somebody wants to buy this bullshit. I'll put it out. Apparently, they arranged the whole thing. They found out, and Bill probably knows this, in Los Angeles, you can rent real officers to arrest you. So they rented real cops to do a fake arrest. The record label owner said his phone was ringing off the hook because everybody wanted to do a verse with the dudes. It was all fake.
Yeah.
Is this where we are with hip hop still?
You're on the right beam, except the difference is these new drill kids, they actually have
They actually are shooting people.
They're actually have shot and killed people. And there's a guy, Young and Ace, that came out of Jacksonville, and he had this huge hit that blew up like 3.5 years ago, where he and his friends were talking about all the people on the other side that they smoked, that they were smoking, which means they killing it or celebrating it. And but the what was it? Vanessa. There's one of those big girl hits in the aughts. Vanessa. Anyway, she gave him the song. And people were surprised. So he had this great hook, and it like blew up and was this monster hit. And then he moved to Houston, and now, like, if you listen to his songs now, they're all sensitive songs about going through therapy and how he's in love with his girlfriend. But he got the hell out of Jacksonville. But it's one of the best. I think he's kind of gotten off the beam, but for a while I thought Vanessa Carlton. Yes, you're right, McCrash. Traplore Ross's documentaries for about 3 years there were just fascinating, because this British guy who looks like a wigger for sure, but he does these deep dives, and he's got their Instagram lives, he's got the records, and he goes through the whole thing, and he walks you through these gang wars all over America. And they're a little bit overlong and intense, but The one on Jacksonville is just fascinating, and he's the one. That's what Toussaint was talking about with the one that he did. King Von, the first serial killer, because he took the FBI's definition of serial killers, and this guy had literally killed over the space of like 4 years, depending on who you talk to, 9 to 11 people, I think it was, then had publicly posted and started doing his hip hop about all these people he had killed.
I'd like to digress, if we can, for a brief moment. Within the vein of the toxicity of the current music, have you guys seen Kanye West's latest single, Heil Hitler? Have you seen the video? Do you know Kanye?
Bill just laughed. Bill just fell out
I'm still stuck on Cousins.
Oh my God. Bill just fell out laughing. I haven't gave a shit about Kanye West since George Bush Jr. was in office.
Kanye West put out a song literally called Heil Hitler. I made the mistake of watching the video on his timeline yesterday. I'm convinced this cat is really sick. Like really just like twisted.
Is he sick? From his dentist.
I mean, the chorus on the song is "Niggas Hi Hitler." I mean,
is it really? Are you making this up?
I'm not lying.
I don't want to listen to it. I wouldn't want to listen to it if he said something else. If he was calling for the return of fucking Aunt Jemima, I still wouldn't fucking listen to it.
He literally he believes he's going to war with the quote unquote Jews because they control all of the industry. And I mean, this cat he's spreading a lot of serious anti-Semitic stuff.
Well, I'm with Timothy Cornerson, where Kanye's brand is trolling. I think he just found like white people that say the N-word in front of a camera.
Mm-hmm.
Now you can get money from that. If I was white, I'd be calling everybody the N-word. I'd be looking for little kids to call nigga too. I'd be walking around every Target. I'd be walking around every Target in the inner city. Nigga. Get your cameras out, black people. Nigga. There's a room full of niggas in this Target.
But you know what's funny about Kanye though? Like 10 years ago, they were falling all over him. Art museums, university. I think he spoke at Harvard. Like all the top corporations. You know, our president had him in the White House like 7 years ago, and he'd already gone off the deep end at that point, which kind of made sense. But he was in the middle of everything, you know, and I think it was obvious he was out of his mind from the start, in my opinion. But there's a great article. Have you ever read the article about one of his last records that actually was a hit? That was what's his face, the producer for Run DMC and the Chili Peppers.
Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin was explaining that he basically brought like 48 like tapes with just different things on them, and they sat in a room, and Rick Rubin and the engineer just slapped them together, and then he finally did some beats over the top of them, and that was the album. And I don't know how much you can believe Rick Rubin either, but
Rick Rubin. I've never seen a person that really believes all the hype about themselves being the greatest producer of all time that doesn't know how to do anything. Like when I made the Chili Peppers record, I told them to exhale.
They say he has no musical. He has like no musical skill whatsoever.
He doesn't know anything. He's the guy. He's the guy that comes in the room. This is Rick Rubin in a nutshell. There's this famous bass player that's played on like 1 million records, and someone was asking him about his instrument and what this one switch was. He goes, "Oh, that's the switch I have for producers that tell me to turn something up or down or change something in my playing. I flip this switch, they think I changed something, and it's not connected to anything. It's just a switch." Rick Rubin is the guy that believes that can you turn that down? And then the engineer pretends to move his hand. That's Rick Rubin. He's fucking, I can't stand that guy.
Really?
Oh my God.
They say that he was the guy who introduced Public Enemy
To the world?
to the world.
Sure. I mean, he was there. He was there when two things happened. He was there when thrash metal happened, and he was there when hip hop happened. He can actually say he was there. You know, without Rick Rubin, you don't have Slayer, right?
Mm.
So there's truth to that, right? You don't have LL Cool J, right? But is he the greatest producer of all time?
Okay, I'll tell you my Rick Rubin story.
Ooh.
We'll digress for 5 seconds.
I'm excited about this.
So, a friend of mine was house sitting for Flea at this house he had in Los Feliz, and he was out of town. And my friend, he didn't have a lot of money, so he's house sitting and everything. But Flea had this ridiculous house that he later sold, and it had this huge front room that was probably set up, and the house went back to the 20s and was probably a ballroom when they used to have those. Anyway, Flea had this gigantic Buddha in there because whether you know it or not, Flea fashions himself a Buddhist. So there's this giant Buddha, and so my friend's there, and one day there's a knock on the door, and he comes to the door, and there's Rick Rubin with these like two dudes in overalls, like workers, right? And they got a ladder, and Rick goes, "Oh, hey, I'm Rick Rubin. I'm friends with Flea." And my friend goes, "Yeah, I know who you are." And he goes like, "Yeah, Flea said it's okay if we come in. We just have to check something real quick." And so my friend's like, "Okay," because he's Rick Rubin. And so he comes in, and the two guys get on this ladder, and they get a tape measure. And they go about taking the tape measure, and they start measuring the Buddha.
Mm.
And my friends are really bad gossips, so kind of everybody knew that this had happened. And like 3 days later, I get this call from another friend. He goes like, "You're not going to believe this, Bill. It's hilarious." And I'm like, "What's that?" He goes, "Now, if you've ever been to Los Angeles, there's a bunch of antique dealerships on 3rd and Beverly between like in the Mid-Wilshire district."
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Rick's down there going from antique store to antique store. He's trying to get a bigger Buddha."
Oh my God. You got Buddha envy. Hella with the Buddha envy. Fuck. See, that's why you don't want Rick Rubin around your kids. Influence.
No.
Fucking all that Buddha envy. Here, Pascal Robert, here's one for you, Pascal Robert. Early on in the show's history, I believe that was, Pascal, your first solo appearance. We did a show about Charlemagne the God being a mouthpiece for Black America.
Yes.
Is that this is a multi-part thing? Is that still the case? Has his friendship with Andrew Schultz jeopardized this status? And yeah, go ahead.
I don't think his friendship with Andrew Schultz has jeopardized it so much because I think every election season there's still Charlemagne the God being interviewing the candidate of choice on behalf of Black America. I think he still has that role as the racial ventriloquist per se, but I think he's got competitors now with people like Joanne Reed, who's freelancing, Don Lemon, and others who are coming in the fold who are no longer at their assigned corporate jobs within corporate media, who basically are now free to have their own podcasts or media thoroughfares to interview the political, rising figure of the day. But I think at this point, Charlemagne still holds a position where, pundits he's kind of a voice of Stephen A. Smith is another competing voice as well. Who else was competing before he got popped was Shannon Sharp.
Competing for I'm the official voice of Black people.
Yeah.
I like Shannon Sharp as a football player and as a football person. I don't want to hear him be the voice for anyone.
Yeah,
he's not. Again, go back and watch the Cat Williams interview if you don't believe me.
Yeah, a little too Bamish.
Well, you can no. I think you can see with that interview that he doesn't know how to handle guests. And I'm still shocked that an interview that is just probably the blackest thing I've ever seen. because there's all those people he's talking about. Most people don't know who he is. Like you can see when he goes on Joe Rogan can't engage the same way. When he goes on Theo Vaughn, those guys don't engage with him the same way because they don't really know the people he's talking about. They don't know the movies he's talking about. But that's the most watched interview in YouTube history is Shannon Sharp and Cat Williams. But it's also interesting to watch this very tiny man at one point tower over this 6'4", 250-pound behemoth and actually have him scared. Remember, we talked about that on this show.
Yeah.
You know, does this growing hip hop manosphere podcast scene speak to a loneliness epidemic among a certain segment of the youth that for 1.5 to 2 years lived like people with severe depression due to the shelter-in-place orders and virtual schooling? Did that absence from their peers stunt their ability to create real-life communal connections? And does this create more reliance on gurus to be moral guides for life?
There's two things I'd like to say about that because, to be honest with you, part of what my movie's about, I think the whole thing with COVID is slightly overrated because that whole trend of less community and fewer relationships and the extreme drug overdose deaths going up, it had already been going on for 10 years before COVID. So we already had that issue. Do I think that kind of accelerated things? It certainly is the reason, like Toussaint was saying, that's when shows like No Jumper and that blew up. So there's certainly an influence on this manosphere and the thing. But I think unfortunately, I think a lot of people and a lot of young people were going that direction already. And in some ways, I think the fact that a lot of these people couldn't go on tour and suddenly had to go online might have been a bigger part of it than, yeah. Does that make sense what I just said?
Yeah, I agree with Bill. I think that the phenomenon, the loneliness phenomenon, is not necessarily caused by the shelter in place due to COVID. I think it's a phenomenon that's caused by the nature of the pervasiveness of internet culture throughout society and the fragmentation that comes along with everyone being able to look into their cell phone and having the sense that they're actually contacting people when they're really not.
I mean, I was talking to a friend. We were having a conversation about this, and he actually works with upper crust students, let's say, in their college applications. He helps them write their college applications, and they have a rule at the company he works for, which is no more COVID essays. He says most of the kids they get, they just every essay is the same. They describe these rooms of empty pizza boxes and dirty clothes and garbage and this depression they felt. You don't think that has anything to do with this, or do you think it okay, go ahead, Bill. I'm sorry.
Here's what's interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. So Paraguay, because I asked about this, right? So Paraguay locked down 2 weeks before the United States. They don't have the issues that we have around loneliness and everything. And you go out here, they barely remember COVID. They went through it. If you talk to them, they'll mention the fact that they locked down 2 weeks before the US did. They were one of the first countries that did lock down. And they did lock down just like all the other countries when it first happened. But you walk around here and, I mean, the first thing they ask you is when you're having a barbecue. The men's group across the street that has the football field, they don't speak English. They want me there every Wednesday and Saturday. I mean, it's just a different vibe. Their first thing is communal. And I think if you look at the stats, we were already headed towards this singular place. So it's not that I don't think COVID had something to do with it, but it's like our youth jumped into it like a warm wound-like tomb. And the people here did it as long as they had to do it. And then they went back outside and started playing football with their friends again. And that's why did we do it the way we did it? And going to what you're talking about, why are they writing essays about it? I don't think any of these kids and they're all trying to go to college here. There's a bunch of colleges around here. So I don't know. I think it's overrated on one hand, and I'm sure it did have some kind of effect. But I think the bigger thing is that suddenly you had all these, people like Cardi B. Oh shit, I can have a podcast and reach as many people as going out on tour.
No, it does feel like that people found like some sort of key, right? Like, oh, this is it. We can do this, and I can make money directly. There's another thing people forget. This is direct money. You don't have to split shit with the record label or a manager. This is just kind of you on your own. And you're finding out, oh, people give a damn about this, and I can get paid out for it. Oh, that's great.
Absolutely. I think capitalism figures into this prominently. It has to do with the alienation that we all feel. And in the United States, it has to do with our individualistic culture. So the idea of somebody during COVID, we never really had lockdown, but during our lockdown type period, you're at home, you're on your computer a lot, you got the drink bottles around you. Gene just posted a picture of a popular streamer's room, and that's exactly what it looked like. And that's what a lot of people's rooms look like. All these streamers, well, they try to have nice places, but I mean, you see Hassan Piker eating on screen, and he's got a little fridge with little drinks and stuff. And this is how people are living. I said earlier that academics is like representative of a lot of the audience. And he's a very regular man in a lot of ways. And that's how the audience is also living. The audience is also not so much lonely, I think, but very angry and also very sexist. So I think that's a major conduit in through like hip hop media. I won't even call it hip hop journalism. It's very easy to just have a topic about Teyana Taylor and Iman Shumpert's divorce, and somebody, quote unquote, taking half. It's very easy to have an opinion about that. Maybe not as easy to have an opinion on, I don't know, tariffs and trade. I can very easily.
Well, let me. Can I ask you this, Toussaint? And this is more to everybody, but I do want to follow up with this. During the shelter-in-place orders, there's a lot of things that are happening at the same time, right? There's this pandemic that is actually taking lives. People are getting very, very sick. We have a fear because we don't know anything, right? Especially the early days when there's no vaccine. We're terrified of everything. You're terrified of a sneeze. At the same time, you've had this guy in office that has kind of said the most horrible shit you can possibly say. Very good people on both sides, blah, 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 blah. You've had these police killings. There's a lot of shit going on. You have the rise of someone like Bernie Sanders and an AOC where they're espousing, let's just say, socialist rhetoric in a lot of their speeches, or at least democratic socialist rhetoric in a lot of their speeches. You have the rise of things like the DSA where people want to get involved. And they're looking at this as like an antidote to their economic pain and precarity. So there's a lot of shows where people want to cash in, so to speak, on political talk. Now we're 4 years out of the pandemic, 3.5, 4 years out. A lot of us, I'll say myself included, try to put that moment so far behind where we don't really think about it. It's kind of a dark time. Yeah. And I lost people. I'm sure everybody on the screen lost someone, or at least is adjacent to someone that got lost to the pandemic. And now it's just back to gossip. We had this blow up of quote unquote left media, but left media has devolved into just gossip and flame wars. There's no difference, in my opinion, to what I see on the majority of podcasts that are supposed to be left leaning than what you see on DJ Vlad.
I think that for a lot of people, they take very seriously the idea of talking about politics. to the point where they'll say things like, well, I think it's silly to not talk to your friends anymore over politics, or you don't talk about politics at the dinner table, things like that, religion and politics. And so there's an idea that there are stakes in your relationships when it comes to politics. But there aren't when we're talking about 50-50 dates, 50-50 marriages, and $200 dates, like Steve said in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
We desperately need to discuss Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion. And that was a whole misinformation fiasco with these shows where there weren't actually any journalists involved. And so there wasn't any journalistic integrity. There also wasn't any integrity, period. It was all about clicks, and anybody can have an opinion on this, and we can argue till the cats come home. There's no stakes. There's just a lot of money.
But isn't that the whole thing with something like, I hate to say it because people are going to get all mad, like force the vote, right?
Uh-huh.
That's one of those things where it's just the land of make-believe. And we can always argue the land of make-believe.
I think there's a sense of community in it.
Okay.
People can, I learned this the hard way, mistake intensity for intimacy. You think you have a community.
Bars. Hashtag bars.
Thank you. You think you have a community with these other people who are angry about the same things that you're angry about. That's not necessarily a community. It's good if you're all for something and not just all against something. But there's a lot of anger out there, and it's easy to connect over that on the internet.
What say you, Bill Cody?
Well, it's funny because I do think, and I thought this before the rise of podcasts. I used to say it about like HBO documentaries. It's like you watch these documentaries and, oh, did you watch, you have friends go, did you watch that documentary about, this big social problem? And I'm going to send a check to so-and-so. And then you just went on with your life.
Mm-hmm.
Podcast has kind of ramped that up where you can do it every week and get angry, along with, whoever, with, Jimmy Dore or whoever, and say, I did my part because I listened to a podcast and I got angry. That's a lot easier than going out and actually, like, say, run for office or, actually try and start a movement, for Christ's sake. It's like
locally.
And even the funny thing is, there were 36,000 people that went to see AOC and Bernie in Los Angeles with Neil Young playing and whoever else played. And that's a lot of people, right? There were 750,000 who marched in 2008 and shut down that immigration bill. That's a way, way, way more a lot of people than 36,000. And they didn't have Neil Young in 2008. Then they put that together in like 4 days because they were upset about what and that bill was moving through the Congress really fast, and it was going to be a lot of the same stuff that we're going through now. The crazy thing is, had the other side known, they would have just run a game show host and gotten all of this stuff done. Who cares about this?
Paul Prescott says something real, shout out to Paul. Some left podcasters seem to make the mistake of truly thinking of their audience as some sort of real political constituency. Do you think that's the case, Pascal Robert?
Absolutely, man. I think that a lot of the podcasters on the left and the right get high on their own supply, man, of their egos in terms of believing that they are like, the God's gift of this. Parasocial realities can create the worst of psyching yourself out and believing you're greater than you really are.
Tahir thinks that the Manosphere, he doesn't think the Manosphere captures a right-leaning turn amongst some men in hip-hop. Lord Jamar sees the Manosphere dudes as cornballs, for example. I would say I wouldn't use Lord Jamar as kind of my bellwether reference point because just for this one reason. If your whole thing is to say somebody sucks, that's kind of his whole thing, right? To be contrarian and to say Eminem's the worst rapper of all time. This white person shouldn't be in hip hop. I'm going to tell everybody what they should do. I mean, if that's kind of your thing, I don't really think that you are going to make friends in any space, right? So, of course, he's going to hate the majority of people that have more viewers than him. That's kind of how that works. Go ahead, Bill.
Well, I wanted to put into this. I had made this note over the week. Even though he's not from hip hop, you know who kind of started this whole going to the right and, you know, we need to take back being man, was actually Kwame Brown of all people. Because he blew up with his podcast, which was way bigger than his basketball career ever was.
A lot of those basketball players, ex-athletes that had, meddling careers of huge podcasts.
Kwame had a 10-year career. It's pretty good for a man with small hands. You know, that was his big problem. He couldn't actually, that was one of his big problems was he couldn't palm the ball.
Well, wasn't he one of the early high school guys that didn't pan out? Yeah,
he was one of the early, and he played on the Wizards with when Michael Jordan came back.
And Jordan was just horrible to him, right?
A lot of people think that Michael Jordan ruined him because he just wasn't, he was an 18-year-old getting screamed at by MJ. But the other story they always said is he always had to go up with two hands because he couldn't palm the ball, and he was 6'10". Don't know what that. And if you want to have a bad, filthy mind, Jason, or
I'm just thinking basketball terms. Don't know what size shoe he had. 6'10" with a size 6 shoe. That's hard.
But he started that podcast like 7 or 8 years ago, and it was all like, a lot of the same stuff that a lot of these hip hop shows say. They've stripped us of our manhood, and it's not flagrantly anti-white, but pretty anti-white, and but also very against liberalism and all this other stuff. I don't know if you ever watched.
Well, there's a direct correlation between the theory that there's a strong belief in a lot of these segments that there is a white liberal conspiracy to effeminate black manhood. And that is the driving politics, the driving thought line that takes a lot of these men of color to the manosphere. This kind of conspiracy theory of effeminization, particularly when they see the concentration on the politics of the LGBTQ community. Anytime they see a black man in a skirt anywhere, they're like, "Oh my God!" It's very much a strong part of the discourse. Whether it's a reality or not is not what I'm trying to debate. What I'm saying is that it motivates a lot of the politics.
It does. And the other one that was very obvious, if you were watching these shows during the run-up to the election, is they have a real beef with what they feel is the elevation of someone like Kamala.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always noticed when Trump did that thing at the black broadcasters, there was all this MSNBC. Can you believe he said that? What they didn't notice, there were people who cheered in the back of that audience.
Yeah.
And he was saying something, and he knew what he was doing. He was saying something that hit the target with a lot of these hip hop shows we're talking about, of like, she was on with what's her face, the one from The Office, saying she's Indian. Now she wants to be black. She's not from slave. Her parents, grandparents, they weren't slaves. They weren't from here. And look, they're going to elevate her and pass us up like they always do. And she's not even black. And you would hear it over and over and over again on these shows. And so when Trump said that, he wasn't trying to flip people on MSNBC. He wasn't going to get their votes. He was trying to flip those votes. And apparently he was able to flip some of them.
Was he able to flip them, or they just didn't like her in the first place?
Keep them to stay home.
I definitely think people stayed home, but I want to know, like, did they just not like her in the first place? I think what kills Kamala more than anything is the "she's for the they them" ad. That when I saw that, I was like, well, that shit's over.
I just want to say that misogyny is always a problem. And I kind of want to ask you guys, I don't know if you know about this. I can't assert it with like any confidence, but apparently there were a lot of black men who were very angry with Obama for having not done more for black people. And that is one of the things that pushed a rightward shift for some of these.
I would ask those people what they were asking for between the years of 2008 and 2016. I would ask those people, like, what were they waiting for? I've run into more Negroes that will defend Obama than I've met. You meet a few more now, because again, I think there's this hyper politicization that happens around the Trump election, where people want to start acting like they've been around for this whole time. It's like, you weren't saying shit. You weren't saying shit for 8 years. You can go fuck yourself with your Obama didn't do shit for me when you had your fucking bootleg Obama t-shirt on at the barbershop. Go fuck yourself. Go double fuck yourself.
Well, they did that with Obama too. Obama brought in a lot of new people who were not into politics before as well, but also did act like they had been there the whole time.
Dude, it didn't take much for Obama to say for niggas to shut up.
Very true.
It really didn't.
But that caused a lot of blowback in certain spaces, though.
Sure, what the 8 people that was at your fucking leftist rally? I mean, but seriously, like, if we think about the wide range of negrodom, the Kendrick Lamar range of negro. There's a mosquito in my room. Sorry. How many people really have a real opinion on Barack Obama?
I think that Barack Obama's bona fides are shifting under his feet more and more every year. He's losing. In other words, his loss of credibility is increasing. When he tried to chastise black men for not coming out for Kamala last election, pissed a lot of people off.
Sure, because a lot of dudes hate women. That's what this whole show's about.
And that's a good point that you made.
I think a lot of people, there are people who didn't vote for Kamala Harris not because they hate women, because they did not trust her.
Do they hate women?
I don't think they necessarily hated women.
Does this explain Michelle Obama's current press tour, where she's trying to reframe Barack Obama as a high-value man who just didn't have money? Is that what this is about?
No one wants Barack Obama to go the Bill Clinton route. Bill Clinton they were the same guy for a long time. Now Bill Clinton is persona non grata in a lot of spaces. It took a long time for people to hate Bill Clinton. I don't think people have that much of an opinion on Barack Obama because he fucking makes shitty playlists and Netflix movies.
He also was a one-time podcaster.
Anyone watching this show probably has an opinion about Barack Obama. Okay. People that don't know a lot of these shows exist, they probably don't have a real centered opinion on Barack Obama. We have to be honest about that.
I want to say a couple things. First of all, because this was early in the chat, we do have to say, if you're a fan of Bauhaus, it's a great t-shirt you got there, Jason. Fuck
yeah.
And I never much liked Barack Obama. I'll be honest with you. Probably because, as one buddy, I just didn't. I thought he could have done actual, single payer, and he had 60 votes, and he had a super majority, and he just didn't even try. And that whole excuse of you can't do this, I just didn't get it.
I mean, I spent the majority of his presidency writing for Black Agenda Report, exposing to trying to expose to Black people why he was a new neoliberal Trojan horse. I mean, I don't think anyone has put out more print trying to expose this charlatan than me.
Hey,
But
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just asking the question.
But I agree with Pascal. I think if this was 9 years ago and you had a discussion about Barack Obama, other than like he's the best president we've ever had, short of Abe Lincoln and George Washington, and I don't think people feel that way about him now, in any other than the MSNBC crowd. I think it's really dimmed. And speaking of gossip, the fact that there were actually some semi-mainstream things who wrote about, is it true that Jennifer Aniston is dating him and breaking up the marriage? Can you imagine that 9 years ago? They wouldn't have, even the weird Hollywood gossip columns would have steered clear of that. I mean, and I have no idea if it's true, but you know what they say they used to say in Hollywood, if it's a rumor, it's true. So
I'm just saying that Barack Obama, for a lot of people, if you ask them, well, what do you hate about Barack Obama? He didn't do anything for Black people. Okay. What did you want him to do? Yeah, I'm like, what was he supposed to do? What was he running on that made you want to go fucking, buy that bootleg shirt?
He was supposed to paint the White House black and have the cookout on the lawn. Is Jason frozen, or is he just like seething with anger?
I'm just sitting here. I can't believe you said that.
Well, hey, Kamala Harris has better rhythm, right?
Can't she dance? She looks like she can't dance.
She dances better.
Look at you, Patty. What dance you do, Pascal? The butterfly?
Butterfly in her chucks.
I mean, dude, I'm not gonna lie. Who was I with? Me and Ben Burgess talking about this the other day. I was like, man, when I saw that them ad, I was like, this woman is good. I was at a bar and someone looked over at me and literally, I think I've said this on the show before, like, is this real? Like, they were so shocked. And there had been political ads running all day. We're watching a football game. And it was just in one out the other. That them shit came on. This man looked over at me. Is that for real? And I said, well, do you think the government's going to pay for any sort of universal medical treatment? And you think that medical treatment is going to be for illegal immigrants in detention facilities? And if so, how many of those do you think there are that just want a sex change? No. No, it was some stupid shit that this drunk woman said because I think she's drunk.
I just want to mention before we end the show about the Manosphere that we did pass Cinco de Mayo, which is the anniversary of the death of Kevin Samuels, the Godfather.
Was it a Mexican woman that he died inside of?
It was a sex worker. I don't know if it was a Mexican.
Can we just make that up?
I can tell
Everybody
you.
else makes shit up. Why can't we just make up a rumor? Kevin Samuels died.
He was with a sex worker. He was with a sex worker when he died?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's knee deep. Yeah.
The feminists online call it Cinco de Mayo.
Oh.
In honor of the
Bill doesn't want to laugh.
The Godfather. Bill ain't want to do it.
Can we just make up a rumor that he died inside of a torta? That's the new rumor. There you go. There you have it. Kevin Samuels died on Cinco de Mayo, engaged in intercourse with an obese Latino. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I've seen the photos. No, you don't want to make that rumor up? You don't feel comfortable with that?
I'm not gonna say anything. thinking about Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp said that he doesn't want to date his age. He want to date his wage.
I don't know what that means. You want to
What does
date
that mean? You
someone
wanna
that's
date
a million years old?
Yeah, was he gonna
Gonna fuck the sun?
Methuselah?
What is
He wants to be with 20-year-olds. That's what he said.
But how does that make sense?
How much? He
It's
makes
It's
more
just
than
those are
that,
just
doesn't
two words
he?
that rhyme. I don't understand how they make sense. I'm trying to date my wage. You make like $10 million. So what are you trying to date? A 10 million year old fossil? You trying to fuck a dinosaur? What are you trying to do, Shannon? I don't
Does he
understand.
equate younger women with having more money?
I
hope
think
not.
the
That's
idea
not
is you
smart.
have more money so you can get the young women.
What? That's what that means?
The manosphere doesn't have to make sense. These are the same people who say that when women go to college and get degrees, they're masculine, but for men to go to college is feminine.
Wait. So when you got that degree,
Yes.
you grew testicles.
Yes.
That's why sometimes you dress like a stud on the weekends.
But if a guy goes to college, he doesn't grow testicles. He doesn't. He becomes a woman and he wears a skirt.
Wait. So every time I see a stud from now on, I just go, that's a college graduate. That woman has a PhD.
She might be in STEM.
A pretty hard day. Pretty hard to.
Okay, I'm going to digress for just a second. The greatest movie in history that I've ever seen is a movie called Swordsman 2 with Jet Li.
Okay.
And the Emperor of China is about to become all powerful, and they have to stop him. It's Jet Li's ex-wife in the movie, his sister, and they have a battle royale because if the emperor is able to turn from a man into a woman, they will be all powerful and unstoppable. And Jet Li, his sister and ex-wife, have to defeat the emperor in a battle royale at the end before he turns into a woman. So that just throws everything off, doesn't it?
I don't understand the logic. Like I sent Toussaint in preparation for this show, I sent Toussaint some clips from my favorite programming.
Yes.
It's balloon pop shows.
Yes.
And if you guys haven't noticed, I've been up since 3:00 this morning. Preparing for this show.
Doing push-ups.
I did 100. Yeah. Did 200. I'm fucking ready. Right? Sun's out. You guys can't fucking see.
Guns out.
Right.
Hey.
Right? Hey. And I'm watching these balloon pop shows because
Oh God,
I'm mildly retarded. And watching these balloon pop shows, they've devolved totally from people trying to meet each other, and now it's just, how can I burn you? How can I say something rude to you with a camera in front of me?
Mm-hmm.
Even the lineups that are coming out are pretty brutal. I do want to show you guys this one. I think did I send this one to you, Toussaint, where I said this dude was cooked from as soon as he walked out?
You posted that and I commented on it.
Like when you saw him, I sent this to Teray too. I said, this is what happens if you ever go on one of these shows.
He's wearing a suit with a t-shirt and a chain.
You know who he looked like? He looked like an R&B singer between the years of 1997 and 2006.
Yes.
He was a very well put together gentleman. He had everything about him was great, and then I was like, oh, this is a balloon pop show, brother. You ain't this ain't for you.
Here's the thing. Peep the red pill talking points. Yes.
He said, what did he say? They said, what are you looking for? Here we go. Damn it.
I'm a college professor and a therapist.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What are some things you like to do for fun?
Travel, go to the movies, work out.
Okay. What do you look for in a woman?
What do you like to do? Travel? Fuck him. Like, whoa. Everyone says travel. Travel is the equivalent of the vowels they give you at the end of Wheel of Fortune. Like, oh, these are all the vowels. These are the most common ones. Don't pop the balloon because he likes to travel. It looks like he can afford it. That's not a t-shirt that I would wear that I bought here from the streets of Mexico.
He's looking like Kenny Lattimore.
That's who that nigga looks like. Shout out to Tucson.
Yep.
This nigga looks just like Kenny Lattimore. Pascal, who did Kenny Lattimore marry? He married somebody fine. Was it Shantae Moore?
I don't know.
I know that they got like some fine light-skinned family. Anyway,
Friends with his
who doesn't
cousin.
want to date? Look, he's got good height. What's wrong with this man? Even this woman knows he's fine because she's keeping a distance because she got a husband that's what co-producer and he don't want her too close to niggas that look like this. She not ready to risk it all for this movie.
Fit, feminine, and friendly.
Oof. Now Tucson.
That's a Kevin Samuels line. That's a Kevin Samuels line.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where he lost the women with the line, you think?
Gotta be.
Fit, feminine, and friendly is literally a Kevin Samuels talking point.
They
I don't
say
know.
all this stuff verbatim all the time.
I don't know who this person is that's been chiming in today with the comments, but please watch the show again because you are totally made my whole fucking day.
All right. And now, what are some of your deal breakers?
Definitely just health. Health is big. And being combative, I would say.
Mm.
Yeah.
What is it? What does a health mean? If she's got like a chronic cough or something?
Somebody
Fine,
has
Bifida.
COPD.
Yeah, she got osteoporosis. That's a no-no for you. You over there fucking looking for pre-existing conditions?
Let me check your gums.
Sorry,
asked
Ethel, you
that
have
in the
asthma.
comments.
Sorry, this isn't gonna work. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Didn't know you.
That's his way of saying no fat chicks.
That's what I
said.
was thinking as well. Tucson, you are on a roll.
I know this stuff.
Look, she knows. She knows. Oh, no fatties. She's trying to think if she fits within this dating paradigm right now. That's this face. Do I? Can I? Am I too big? Do I need to wear those slimming waist things? Can he take me the way I am if I take this wig off? I don't know.
She got body shapers, and they are doing their job.
Oh my God.
The girls are girling.
You know what? There's something about this woman, as messy as she is, because now every time I watch the show, I just hear you go, she's messy.
She is really messy. She's the best part of the show.
Every time I want to like this woman, I just hear you go, she's messy.
She is. I love her. She's hilarious.
But
so what is it that made you say?
Yeah, why'd you tell this nigga to fuck off? Can you tell us, Laurel? Can you tell us why you felt you were a good match for this woman with the job, and you sit here lying about driving Uber?
So why do you hate children?
That's why I love her, because she is just the most adorable instigator of all time.
Absolutely.
Play the video, man. Play the video, man.
Okay. Alrighty. So we did get pop balloons. Let's go on over there and see why they ended up popping. So welcome in.
That's the video.
That's the video. They just said pop, 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 pop. Like, wow. I think they popped because that nigga just looked too difficult for them. Like, he gonna try to tell me things that make sense.
He's above their pay grade, man. That's what it is, man. He's above their pay grade.
I got no type of sense about him.
Tucson, would you pop your balloon on Kenny Lattimore Jr.?
Absolutely. Oh, his shoes are brown. Yes, I would.
You would have popped
Why?
it? Why?
He is spitting red pill talking points.
Oh, come on.
He doesn't know any better. He's a hurt man. You can tell he's gone through 2 divorces.
I'm not getting sucked into any of
Look,
that.
you can tell. Look, you can tell the white woman he was with. You could tell the white woman he was with for 14 years broke his heart. And now he's looking to, dip his toe in the chocolate pond.
There's no such thing as a little bit of manosphere. You are in. So he's in. He's in the life.
Oh my God.
I'm not messing with none of that. These manosphere dudes, they like to keep each other single very much.
Oh my God. You said there's no such thing as a little manosphere.
No. A little manosphere is a treat? No.
What do you young people say? 10 toes deep?
10 toes deep. 10 toes down.
10 toes down in the manosphere. Okay, Pascal and Bill, I have more for you guys to watch. Because I think all this shit is manosphere adjacent. I agree with Toussaint wholeheartedly that all this shit these guys are saying, they're just spitting out what they hear on podcasts day in, day out. That guy's at the gym, he's listening to a podcast in his fucking Beats by Dre fucking awesome Bluetooth headphones. Mm-hmm. He just wants an attractive woman. He wants no fatties. Oh, sorry.
With us. So, any final question between the two of you before we determine if this is a match?
I'm a pop.
Wow, what a douche.
Wow.
Douche.
Yeah, the hesitation kind of threw me off, and then the comment you made earlier about hair, it kind of stuck with me.
I think it's the hair, the braids, but yeah, okay. I'm not. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it was like, I kind of just felt like maybe you ain't want me for real. So yeah.
She's all disappointed.
She is
like that's what I'm saying about this show. Like this is the everybody's looking for.
This show is not just trying to bring people together. All right, this show is.
You think the fucking dating game was 50 years ago? My point is that in the era of virality, we all want to go viral for something. That guy Aaron the plumber is an official internet celebrity now because he got turned down on this show and called a name, and he got beat up twice on another show. He's officially an internet celebrity because he got beat up twice and someone said he looked like a Ninja Turtle.
I remember him. He didn't have no neck. That's what they said.
So the viral moment is kind of what people are going for. Because, really, if you got this far into the dating thing with this woman and now it's the end and you go, nah, I don't want to do it. It's like, well, you did that on purpose because you know that it's going to be a moment. Because look, he can't even really say why. He goes, oh, you said a thing. Well, if you said a thing, why didn't you pop your balloon? Fuck, don't trust light-skinned people.
Oh, that's like. Anyway, so is he someone that's your type?
He's my type.
Yeah. I do think you are very beautiful, very attractive, very well put together. But yeah.
Thank you.
Head on back.
That woman was fine.
I mean, also it's 2025. He got an undercut with braids.
Wow.
A lot of women are. I think with a lot of young people, they're very into the trends, and if you're not in the trend, then like where do you see people with that hair now?
Pascal, come on, man. Put it on vibrate. That song came out in the 90s.
Paging Dr. Robert.
Yeah, fuck. And you're looking down, too. That's all that thing. You're not supposed to do any of that. Yeah, you're on mute.
No scratching on air, Pascal.
Yeah. Put it on vibrate.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Because me being of the lighter skin tone and everything, after the Super Bowl, I had a lot of friends who would have known who, hip hop artists were in the 90s go, have you heard of this new guy, Kendrick Lamar, who just did the Super Bowl?
No.
And I was like, I'm serious. And I was like, well, maybe it's because I'm from Los Angeles, but Kendrick Lamar is kind of like the biggest hip hop star of the last 10 plus years. But
it's got a Pulitzer.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
He's got a Pulitzer. He does. Somebody said, "Whoa, Jason Pascal got moves to make." Dang, just didn't even want to put it on vibrate. He's like, nah, fuck these people.
On vibrate. It's on vibrate.
This is a new. So now everybody. So Bill, you know as well as anyone else knows. Once you have one cheap hit, everybody wants to make a cheaper version of the same hit. And this balloon pop show is so bad. You see the fucking stand for the backdrop.
Oh my god.
The thing about these shows, you don't need a lot of stuff, right? They have one backdrop. They have a couple lights. Super simple. One camera that moves, right? They might even have two cameras. You don't need a lot. You just need to not have that in the shot. Start there. But this was wow. Oh, sorry.
What? For real? Okay. Okay.
Hell no.
Okay.
Okay. I would have popped that balloon myself. Drug dealer. Okay, ready?
So dude said he was a drug dealer.
Wow.
Pascal is shocked.
So the girl said apparently that she needs your pockets to match her pockets. It was pocket matching. It's fair.
Mm-hmm. What's your name? What's your age? And what do you do?
My name is Nez. I'm 30. And
Why'd you pop your balloon?
she said something about match her pockets. I ain't got none.
Dang.
What did he say?
He said she said that she wants us to match her pockets. Well, hell, I ain't got none.
He's honest.
Is this so?
He should become a streamer.
What's your name? What's your age? And what do you do?
Mike, 23, content creator.
What does that mean to you?
He's a streamer.
Content creator. Is that how you make your money, Mike? Is that really all you do? You just create content? What kind of content do you create, Mike? Does it vary? You just want to be a billboard? Tell me about yourself, Mike.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, he's an OnlyFans content creator. You know, when I was at the shelter, there was a dude that did OnlyFans.
That's what's up.
At the shelter?
Yeah, he had really large
Hands.
Really large
Hands.
he had a problem. He had a problem with I don't know if keloids is the right word. You know how you get like these keloids or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
He had that with his nuts.
Wow.
And they were massive. They were like fucking, I'm not even trying to be funny. They were like two big medicine balls. And he set up all in his room. Yeah, that's how he made money.
He wasn't making enough on OnlyFans.
No, I guess no one really wanted to see a fucking weird looking dude with huge nuts all the time.
Taking these nuts to a whole nother level.
To a whole nother level. He ended up getting arrested. Actually, it was really sad. He got arrested with his kids. It was really fucking heartbreaking.
Oh.
He was doing fake strong arm robberies. He had a fake gun. He was doing strong arm robberies on people, which is hard for him to run away because you see the nuts sway. Don't laugh.
Taking these nuts to a whole
I'm
nother
trying
level.
to get shot by the nigga when I go back to the bay in a few weeks.
Dusty said elephantitis.
Some shit. I'm not even trying to be funny.
Yeah.
He really did. He really did. They were like, because he got mad one day. He was causing trouble with something, and I was like telling him to keep something down. He was like, "Man, I got these big ass nuts. I can barely lay down, and you just keep harassing me." I was like,
I guess it is like being pregnant, right? Like you can't lay on your belly.
dude. Anything you think you you have seen nothing until you work in a facility with over 300 homeless people. Not much that can shock me. That's why these balloon pop shows, I'm always like, no way.
No way.
Oh, fuck, huh? I didn't think I'd see that.
Real quick, somebody asked. Oh,
no, go ahead. Really ask what?
They asked if the host Arlette was Ados. Somebody said that like her husband is from the Congo or something.
Some shit like that, yeah.
And they asked if balloon pop shows were popular on the continent. I don't know if them being popular on the continent. I believe they are popular in the UK. I've seen UK versions of balloon pop shows.
I would love to see a UK balloon pop
Who
show.
started?
There are people from the continent on the UK versions.
I want to say that cute black woman started it. That Tucson says
it was Arlette and her husband that started it, right?
Yeah, the worst of shapers.
The body shapers.
Tucson is just destroying that woman's whole.
She has a nice shape. She looks good.
It makes me want to wear a body shaper. I'm like, God damn.
That's what beards are.
You're saying she's wearing specs?
Did you say that's what beards are?
Yes, she did say that.
So I meant their beards.
Oh my God. My God. See, somebody says shelters are crazy. I lived in them for 10 months. Timothy, you know what I'm talking about. It is the most insane group of people that will tell every day you will hear the craziest shit in the world. You'll hear something that'll make you the angriest you've ever been in your life, and then you'll cry every day. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm built for it, because I'm not. That's why I'm on this fucking podcast.
Yeah, I heard the Metro Pocket thing. Like, it's just gay. Like, that's what you just coming for. Like, straight that.
You don't feel like she's coming for love?
Nah. Yeah, she looking at the pockets for sure.
For sure. What's your name? What's your age? What you do? Why'd you pop your balloon?
I'm Josh. I'm 21. I'm in school and I'm an entrepreneur. I pop my balloon.
He's a Trumpreneur or an
entrepreneur?
He's wearing a crop top.
Looks like he's about to go try out for the football team.
Looks like he's about to go on OnlyFans. Is that the new hot thing? The Manosphere talk about what women are more masculine if they go to college, and then this dude walks up. Yeah.
I did see a post that said we should normalize men wearing crop tops. It was men.
I mean, I'm not afraid to wear one. You're gonna see a little navel, right? See a little mangina when I'm wearing the low-rise jeans.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Top of the mangina.
There is a controversy now about what women wear to the gym that's going on in the Manosphere.
Yeah.
But there are some who also want men to be able to wear crop tops in the gym.
You can wear, I think those tank tops that kind of look like a thong on your back.
Yeah, the racer back.
Yeah, what do you call those? What do you young people say? Mad sus?
Mad.
Is that what you people say? Whenever I see a buff ass dude wearing one of those, I'm always like,
mad sus.
Mad.
What are these things that soccer players are wearing now that look like sports bras?
Some of them are wearable technology. I know what you're talking about. Some of it's wearable technology.
Because they'll take their shirt off after they score a goal, and I'm like, "What do you got, a sports bra?" I'm watching a lot of football down here, you know.
Yeah, some of it's actually wearable, and I don't know about all of it, but some of it's wearable technology that's monitoring things like heart rate, their speed throughout the game, so they can use it in analytics afterwards. Yeah. But it does look again. Mad sus, as you young people say.
Oh, I like when men play basketball with the leggings on. I don't know if they have a different name for men, but I like them.
I would call them leggings. I know what you're talking about. They look super comfortable.
I think so. I like leggings.
Do you like crop tops and baggy jeans? Because this nigga looks like Aaliyah in 1994. Ain't nothing but a number.
So I only sort of know what these balloons. So if they pop the balloon, they're not interested in the girl. Is that right?
Or the guy, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they pop the balloon, it's like, I don't want to talk to you. So the original host, the cute woman, she would go and ask kind of fucked up questions like, oh, why'd you pop your balloon? Would you date this person that pops your balloon? And it kind of created this weird tension.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think the tension's gone and it's just people being mean. Like this kid right here.
Because like when she first came in, she tripped a little bit.
I'm Trey. I'm 32, and I'm a drug dealer.
The negosity in this show.
Oh,
I just wanted y'all to see the first part because we missed it because the computer.
Is this what they call on Clubhouse self-snitching?
You would think, right? That's
Right.
pretty fucking tarded.
He reported himself. Well, that's what they do on those IG lives that Trap Law Ross be compiling. They be self-snitching on us too.
Well, that was the whole thing about No Jumper. They because half of their hosts are in jail now on the RICO charges, and they're like, and one of them apparently that was on No Jumper was wearing a wire for 2 years.
Wow.
I don't understand though. If you're wearing a wire for 2 years, how come you got to go to jail? I thought it was the other way around.
Did not make a deal.
I do have to show you this balloon. Have I showed you the one where the black dude said he was going to hold? He would hold the woman's head underwater.
Oh no!
They're like, what would you do if you took me on a date? If I took you on a date, I'll hold your head underwater.
Oh no!
Wash all that makeup off your face and see what you look like.
Dear Reddit, am I the asshole?
I think this man probably got out of a state facility. And I think he's trying to be nice. I really do believe what he's saying in here was a compliment, but out here was a threat.
Bodily assault?
Yes. Yes. Wow. But I think he meant this as a compliment.
Jacuzzi and dunk your ass under there and make sure we get all that makeup out there. I want to see what you look like underneath that.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna take you to the Waffle House after that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yo. You're crazy.
But he didn't pop his balloon though.
No, she liked him. She wanted to talk. She asked him a question like, "What would you do if we were on a date?" And he was Sune said, "Damn." Shout out to Sune and Dusty, the fucking moderators. Hell yeah. He says he wants to dunk her head in a jacuzzi so she can wash the makeup off. I think he's trying to give a compliment
because he's going to take her to Waffle House afterwards.
I think he's very serious about the food there.
Did he say I thought he said walk around. Oh, the Waffle House?
The Waffle House.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. Yes.
The Waffle House. You gotta like pay me to go to Waffle House, man.
Why are you not trying to get shot at 2:00 in the morning? You're not trying to get caught in a melee at 3 a.m.
Not exactly the optimum date location.
The Waffle House is a cool date if you're with someone that's crazy. I'm crazy, and if I was somewhere where there was a Waffle House and I met a nice person that wanted to go out with me, I'm like, let's go to the Waffle House after this. Let's just go to the Waffle House, instigate a fight.
instigate a fight. Shoot
It's
her
not
at
going to
the
be
first
hard,
thing.
you know.
No big deal.
Not even a step up to the IHOP.
No, you know, you go straight Waffle House, man. Because if you're in an area where there's a Waffle House, you're in an area where you can see a really good fight. And every Waffle House I've been to, as you can imagine, Bill Cody, has always been on tour. And the staff, regardless of the ethnicity of the staff, they have always been so fucking cool to us. So
the staff are always friendly. I'm not sure why that is, but I was meeting somebody I was working with at a Waffle House like every other Sunday, and I was just like, "Yeah, I'll just have bacon."
It was like they can't fuck that. There's certain Denny's in certain parts of the country too where you can get fucked. Denny's down here, once you cross the border, all them cities until you get to San Diego proper, them is some rough ass places.
You love that.
And you go to them like National City Denny's and Chula Vista Denny's, you gonna see some shit. You gonna see some shit.
I heard a Manosphere dude say not to date women who work at Waffle House or Walmart because they're masculine. And somebody was like, why? He was like, because they be fighting at those places all the time. She go to work and she fight and she gonna come home. What you think she gonna do to you?
I don't know, not fight because I'm not trying to fucking take shit from her. That's how that works, asshole.
So where are you catching all this this Manosphere conversation, man?
I watch a lot of critique of the Manosphere.
Them niggas should be with.
Look, it is so pervasive. You walk down the street and there's a Manosphere dude.
How does one become a Manosphere?
I told you, man. You just get a little bit as a treat, and then soon you're in.
Tucson, can you read this comment, please?
Dr. Smurfo says, nothing like getting baptized in a jacuzzi and then getting dragged to a Waffle House. I agree.
That dude he stayed frightening the whole show, by the way. That man. Okay, so I found this video, and this video is an advertisement for leggings, and it scared the shit out of me. Like, it's not right. This is what Tucson is talking about when she says homegirls were in shape up, and we can go after this. I do have to show this to Bill, Cody, and Pascal, because I don't think these guys understand the wizardry.
Oh, I saw that shit. Oh
my. Pascal was looking at his screen. It was like, I rebuke you in the Lord's name.
This shit.
Satan, I rebuke you. Now, this woman has lost, I think, 200 or 300 pounds. So she's lost an enormous amount of weight, and not everybody can afford the surgery to, remove the excess skin or pull it back and stuff. So she found these leggings.
Something about a legging that gives such a confidence boost, especially when it lifts the rump back here. Let me just show you how freaking good these are. The way that it just makes this whole booty pop and just gives the most rump-alicious rump. I absolutely love them. I love too that I feel like they have this really good control here that comes high-waisted, which I love, and they have double pockets. They have a confidence boost, but also hold everything in place, so they offer support for my body after losing 300. I love anything that can make the rump look good, but also hold everything in place. So it just offers comfort for wearing around all day. These are the Rumpylicious leggings by Halera, and they are so good, and love the way that they just like shape my whole lower body skin. But there is something about a leg.
That's criminal, man. Nah, man.
Those dope. There's a lot of people, like when you get the bariatric surgery, you lose a lot of the weight quickly, and you can have the excess skin and a little bit of flab like around the abdomen and stuff, and she can go out and feel good about herself, have a good time in some leggings like the best.
Dude, that's scary. Bill, what say you to that?
I gotta admire what she's doing, to be honest with you. She's lost a bunch of weight. She's like helping people out, showing them how they can get the right leggings, and she'll probably get the surgery. It's just like, I'm thinking about getting a pair of those leggings. So I've got about 40 extra pounds these days.
I've never heard this before. She's got a 6-pack of butter.
I've never. Can't buy butter in a 6-pack.
What a silly Negro! You can't buy butter in a 6-pack. That dude, seriously, if you lost that much weight, I agree with people in the comments of Bill. More power to you. That's really hard. Mm-hmm. Try losing 10 pounds. It's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I like chips. Right? I like fucking all the horrible things. Look, these women were like, I'm gonna stop eating the horrible things. I'm gonna exercise. And you lost the weight. And now all that skin that got stretched out to be damned, there's a way that you can make it into a great big fat ass.
That's what's up. You don't have to go to Cardi B route.
Yeah.
Get a diamond installed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dusty says she hasn't tasted ice cream in 6 months. And if you were with her before, that's the definition of ride or die right there.
Oh no, Prairie Fire. That's a little bit of a Manosphere talking point. That's the gym cell.
I totally know. That's why I did it. I do this on purpose sometimes.
What about Prairie Fire in the chat?
Losing weight is not difficult. You just eat less food and exercise an additional 30 minutes for 2 months. That's how Bert Cooper talks to me.
Is it really?
Yeah, Bert Cooper is the worst.
Bert never has been overweight in his life. Neither is Prairie Fire. You can tell.
No, Bert was like, look, he'll give you statistics.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like less than 1% of the country has a visible 6-pack.
I find that so interesting. You said that to me before, and I was like,
and
my dad had a 6-pack like his whole life. I thought it was way more than that.
Very few people actually have one. So the fact that you want to get one, you probably have to lose a lot of weight.
We had a friend in college, Mikey Lee. That guy had a 6-pack. He ate like a fish. He never exercised. He's just born that way.
Genetics have a lot to do with some people's makeup, but it really boils down to your intake.
It has to do with kind of muscular kind of genetic makeup. You have endomorph, ectomorph, or endomorph.
By the way, have you seen Arnold Schwarzenegger recently? He's a long way from a 6-pack these days.
Okay.
He's also like 70-some years old. He's leaned into his grandpa years, unlike Sylvester Stallone, which is like, I'm not stopping with these steroids.
True. Weight loss is different for men and women.
It's
like this
super
lady might
hard
have had a couple of kids too.
Yeah, I'm sure these women had kids, like the whole 9. You know what I mean? And if you lost a bunch of weight, that's really hard to do. I'm on my own weight loss journey right now. Shit's fucking difficult.
I would say also this is currently a raging debate in the Manosphere right now as well.
What is that? Shape 'em ups?
The man with the 6-pack. So these incels, these Manosphere dudes, they think that women are attracted to like bodybuilders, but women say that they like dad bods. And so the Manosphere guys are like, the women are wrong and they're lying. They don't actually like dad bods. They like bodybuilders. And that is what these men should be working for.
Why would a woman lie?
This is my question. But you can't trust these hoes. So
Kenny Lattimore came out there looking, I'm sure he had a nice little almost 6-pack on him. They all popped when he walked out with that fucking suit t-shirt combo.
He thinks he's Kevin Samuels. And that is why they popped. They're like, ain't you supposed to be dead? Did we just hit the anniversary of your death?
Someone said women be lying. I don't think Toussaint, last I checked, you were a woman.
Last I checked, also.
You're a woman. Do you give a damn to that extent of like 6-pack or not 6-pack?
Well, as I said before, my dad was like a bodybuilder, dude. I was under the impression that it was more common. And so I would be more geared towards a fit dude, but also like I don't really care. My ex was like 300 pounds, whatever. It's okay.
But
It's
why
cool.
is it your ex?
As long as you're cool.
Why was he your ex? You got tired of fucking Dorito crumbs on the bed.
You know what? He lost over 100 pounds when we were together.
Fuck.
Kind of became a different person.
So, that's the thing that people lie, like the Manosphere comment, like if you with her when she big, go to the gym and find you a big girl with a pretty face. Find you a big girl with a pretty face on the treadmill. Like, remember that guy that brutally killed his wife and kids because he lost all that weight and got ripped and started screwing some other woman on the side?
That sounds familiar. There's a lot of dudes like that.
Yeah, it's if you get to the point where you feel comfortable in your own skin and you can walk around with your shirt off. Like, I'm not there yet, but if you ever see me with just a jean jacket and no shirt on underneath, best believe I'm about to be the biggest asshole you've ever met. And y'all know me as a pretty big asshole right now.
Did you say a jean jacket and no shirt?
No shirt.
Wow.
No
And
shirt.
then you take off your jean jacket.
I'm trying to figure out why you wearing a jean jacket in the first place, nigga.
Wow, because they're stylish.
He's Debbie Gibson. And then he takes off his jean jacket and puts it over a puddle, so a torta can walk over it.
When you see me jean jacket, no shirt, best believe in my head, all I hear is the Staying Alive theme song. You can't tell what I'm a ladies' man. Got no shirt on.
Years ago, there was some survey done of women of what kind of bodies they like the most.
Mm-hmm.
And the actor that they chose to represent the body type they liked the most was Bruce Willis.
He does not have a 6-pack.
He was pretty fit in Die Hard, the first movies.
But he didn't that was like regular guy fit. That was the whole thing.
Regular guy fit, yeah.
Yeah.
Dad bod, regular guy fit.
I'm trying to get a little bigger than that.
You trying to get Brad Pitt Fight Club, and that's what a lot of these
too skinny. I don't want to get skinny like that. I'm trying to get I'm trying to get Michael B. Jordan.
They trying to get the lower abs with the V.
Somebody told me those are called cum gutters, and that just really frightened me.
Whoa. Whoa, like a bowling alley.
I was told that's what those are called, and I was like, oh, well,
that's wild.
Maybe
those are on like bronze Greek statues, and as a person who studied art history for years, I can tell you those are idealized statues. People aren't just walking around looking like that.
No, you're gonna fucking you know how sick and dehydrated those guys are when they film those movies?
Crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. Well, thank you guys. Look, we've been going for too long. Bill, God knows what time it is in Paraguay. We know that it's fucking mint julep 30 for Pascal.
It's 3:17 here.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Bill, did you have anything to say in closing?
No, I'm not sure how we got from the politics of the Manosphere and how it affects overall politics to bubble pop.
This is how you get into the Manosphere. This is how you dip your.
I will say, when you were describing the jean jacket with the no shirt, I think that would have fit better in the hair metal discussion you had with Terrell.
I feel like that's the look for me for everything. It doesn't matter what I do. Doing a hip hop show, doing a metal show. If I get to the point where I could wear a denim jacket with no shirt,
you gotta get the leggings. That's the stuff.
I want to wear that outfit here and see what happens.
Ooh.
I'm not wearing it back home. That's an invitation. That's like you wearing leggings. Pascal, anything to say in closing?
Appreciate the afternoon, comrades. Let us get about the day.
All right. Thank you guys very much for hanging out. And wait a minute, where we at? Here we go. We are
out.
Peace.